Alright, I did not expect this type of ending because of how the series has gone, but it came down to a couple differences, and the obvious one was just a difference in production from the others. The Nugs didn't adjust anything from their defensive game plan, so they were still having Yoke shade James or Kawhi's angles on ones, still doubling Kawhi in the post, still having Yoke show off their screens, and still having Maul or MPJ hedge. But the worst of it somehow came against the Nugs zone in the second, because that was the start of them losing the game. If anything, they were getting some of the same looks they've been getting through their advantages all series, and it was just the worst time to have their worst performance, because the only ones that really showed up were Bogey and Zoo. But that just wasn't enough to compensate for the others' misses, or even the stars doing the same, especially James, because whenever he did try to play ones, Brown was basically in his jersey, so they couldn't rely on that same shot making they have been to bail him out, and a lot of it stemmed from the Nugs playing with way more effort defensively. It was showing in their physicality and their scrambles, so the Clips weren't getting as many easy looks, especially on the backside, and this was probably as engaged as I've seen Yoke on that end of the floor. The only downside was him picking up a ridiculous 5 fouls in the third, but I'd rather see him bump off screens or in the paint so that the Clips can feel him, because at least they have to earn their points at the line, and that effort from the team was even showing just as much in transition. They weren't giving up any runouts for the Clips to try to establish some sort of rhythm, and that was the second big difference of the night, because they were capitalizing on their stops to play with constant pace. Their defense was basically their best offense, because the Clips were just as physical in the half court with all the holding, and their adjustment was to put length on Maul with DJJ at the start of the night, then Batum at the start of the third, but they were able to combat that by getting runouts or flowing right into their actions for quick buckets. A lot of them ended up being momentum plays, because they were going from end to end, and a couple were even coming in the Clips' own half, so those kept getting the crowd into it for a compounding effect. That's really how they broke the game open quick in the third, and once they established a rhythm, the shot making started showing, so Ty Lue decided to throw in the towel early in the fourth. I would have never guessed that there would be garbage timing in Game 7, especially in this series, but it was just a reflection of how good the Nugs defense was, and how important home court is in the playoffs, because the others took full advantage of it. Brown was locking up on one end, then cutting or making his open looks on the other. Gordon was always looking to play bully ball or ready in the dunker, and Russ was always crashing for O boards, getting steals, or pushing pace, so between those three, it didn't even require their stars to have big nights. But now they don't have that luxury against the Thunder, and they don't have the luxury of the same rest the Thunder have had, because this was a grueling 7 games, so it's time to see if they can somehow replicate this performance 4 times against them on fresh legs. Just watch the tape.